Sometimes love isn't loud. It doesn't always come with grand gestures, big speeches, or a clear, I love you. Sometimes love is quiet. It's hidden in glances, delayed replies, nervous laughs, and unfinished sentences. And sometimes the person who loves you the most is the one who's too afraid to say it out loud. He's always there, always around, always showing up in the smallest ways, but never crossing that line. He talks to you, listens to you, remembers the things you forget you even said. But he never tells you what you truly mean to him, not because he doesn't want to, but because he's scared. Scared of being vulnerable, scared of changing what you have, scared of being rejected by the one person who makes him feel everything he's too afraid to admit. And so, he loves you silently. You've probably felt it. Those strange moments where something almost happens. When the silence between you suddenly feels heavy. When his eyes hold yours just a second too long. When his voice softens mid-sentence, like he's about to say something, but stops himself. It's not in your head. It's him, struggling with a feeling he doesn't know how to name, and a fear he doesn't know how to fight. Because real love doesn't always look like the movies. Sometimes it's full of hesitation, second-guessing, and what-ifs. He might think he's protecting both of you by staying quiet, but his heart, it speaks. Through actions, through tension, through moments you can't explain but can't ignore either. You see, when a man is scared to tell you he loves you, he'll still try to show it, in ways you might miss if you're not looking closely. That's why today, we're uncovering the truth behind his silence. These are the 15 signs he's holding back, not because he doesn't feel anything, but because he feels too much. His fear may silence his voice, but his love is still trying to reach you. Watch closely, listen gently. Sometimes the loudest love is the one that doesn't speak at all. 1. He stares at you when you're not looking. He stares at you when you're not looking because that's when he feels safest to admire you without being exposed. His eyes tell the story, his lips can't. When a man is scared to confess his love, he often watches you silently, trying to memorize your expressions, your laugh, the way you move, and even how you interact with others. There's a deep emotional pull that keeps drawing his eyes toward you, even when he's trying hard not to make it obvious. He might glance your way during conversations with others, steal a look when you're busy, or even just gaze from across the room, hoping you won't notice. But the moment you catch him, he quickly looks away or pretends he was never watching. That instant panic in his eyes isn't guilt, it's fear. Fear of being caught feeling too much. Fear that you'll realize how deeply he's fallen for you. This kind of staring isn't casual. It's thoughtful, often intense, and filled with emotion he can't express out loud. It's how he connects with you when his words fail him. Sometimes it's longing, sometimes it's admiration, and sometimes it's silent love trying to break free. He may not say, I love you, but every stolen glance speaks louder than words. Because behind those quiet stares is a heart, hoping you'll understand without him having to say anything. 2. He gets nervous when you're too close. He gets nervous when you're too close because your presence triggers emotions he's trying hard to control. When someone has deep feelings for you but is afraid to admit them, your nearness can feel overwhelming. His heart races, palms might sweat, and he may fidget or stumble over his words. Not because he's shy in general, but because you make him feel vulnerable in a way no one else does. He might laugh a little too loudly, avoid eye contact, or suddenly get quiet when you're sitting next to him. That tension isn't discomfort, it's fear of being exposed. Your closeness brings his emotions to the surface, and he's scared you'll see right through him. He wants to reach out, say what he feels, maybe even touch your hand. But the fear of rejection or ruining what you have holds him back. Every small brush, Every shared moment feels amplified to him. What's casual for you might be a storm of feelings for him. He might pull back just slightly or act distracted. But deep down, it's because being physically close to you makes it harder to hide his emotions. His body reacts even when he tries to stay calm. The nervousness isn't just physical, it's emotional tension between what he feels and what he's afraid to say. 3. He remembers the smallest things you say. He remembers the smallest things you say because he's paying attention in ways that most people don't. When a man loves you but is too afraid to admit it, he holds on to your words like they matter more than anything else. You might mention your favorite snack once, a dream you had as a child, or a random story about your bad day, and weeks later, he'll bring it up like it just happened yesterday. That's not a coincidence. That's care disguised as casual memory. He's not just hearing you, he's listening with his heart. Every detail you share becomes part of how he connects with you quietly. He stores these things because they help him feel closer to you, even if he never gets the courage to say how he feels. Sometimes he'll surprise you by remembering something you forgot you even said. That moment when he reminds you of a song you liked, or sends you a picture of something random you once mentioned. It's his way of showing affection without crossing a line. He doesn't do this for everyone. It's specific, it's personal, and it means more than he'll ever say out loud. When someone remembers the small things, it's not because their memory is sharp. It's because their heart is involved. His silence is filled with your words, your moments, and your presence. He may never tell you how much you mean to him, but the way he holds on to your every detail says it all. 4. He avoids eye contact when things get emotional. He avoids eye contact when things get emotional because looking into your eyes feels too real, too raw, and too revealing. When a man harbors deep feelings he's afraid to express, emotions become a battlefield he tries to silently survive. Eye contact is powerful. It's honest, intimate, and exposing. And in moments when conversations turn vulnerable, when you talk about love, pain, dreams, or anything heartfelt, he instinctively looks away, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much. Holding your gaze in emotional moments would be like giving himself away. He's scared that if he looks too long, you'll see everything, his fear, his hope, his longing. So instead, he breaks eye contact. He might shift his attention to something else, lower his head, or pretend to be distracted. But inside, his emotions are spinning fast, and your presence is at the center of it all. Avoiding your eyes becomes his shield. It helps him keep control, hide the feelings he's not ready to confess, and protect himself from vulnerability. Sometimes, it's not even conscious. It's a reflex of someone who feels deeply but doesn't feel safe enough to speak that truth. In those moments of silence and stolen glances, his heart is screaming what his eyes are too afraid to confirm. 5. He gets jealous but tries to hide it. He gets jealous but tries to hide it because he's not ready to admit how much he cares. When you mention another guy, laugh at someone else's joke, or spend time with someone he sees as competition, something inside him shifts. He feels a pang of insecurity, a silent fear that someone else might get the place in your heart he secretly wants. But instead of showing it, he masks it, often with forced smiles, changed subjects, or distant behavior. He knows he has no right to be jealous, especially if you're not officially together. That's why he hides it. He doesn't want to seem possessive or push you away, but the truth is, it hurts him more than he lets on. He might become unusually quiet, slightly irritated, or suddenly uninterested in the conversation, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much and doesn't know how to express it. Sometimes he'll joke it off or act like he's unbothered. But pay close attention. His energy changes. His eyes might follow you when you're with someone else. He might ask subtle questions or make sarcastic remarks. All of it comes from a place of silent longing and fear of losing something he never really had the courage to claim. His jealousy isn't about control. It's about emotion. It's the invisible thread between his heart and yours, tugging quietly every time someone else gets too close. 6. He checks on you, but pretends it's casual. He checks on you, but pretends it's casual because he wants to be close without making his feelings obvious. When a man loves you silently, he finds small ways to stay connected, little check-ins, masked as friendly concern. He'll ask how your day was, if you got home safe, or if you've eaten, but in a tone that sounds effortless, as if it's just routine. Deep down, though, he needs to know you're okay because your well-being matters to him more than he lets on. He might message you out of nowhere, saying something like, "Just checking in," or "Thought of you when I saw this." These aren't random, they're intentional, wrapped in subtlety. He'll play it cool, pretend he's not too invested, but the timing says otherwise. He checks in when you sound off, when you post something sad, or even when you don't post at all. It's not about conversation, it's about connection. Sometimes he'll use excuses, like asking for a recommendation, advice, or sharing a meme, but all of it is just a reason to be near you. He doesn't want to make it too obvious because the fear of being exposed or rejected holds him back. So instead of confessing, he stays in your life through these small gestures, hoping you feel the care in his quiet consistency. Because for him, showing up in little ways is safer than saying the one thing his heart really wants to say. 7. He compliments you indirectly. He compliments you indirectly because he's afraid that being too direct might reveal how deeply he feels. Instead of saying "you're beautiful" or "I'm in love with you," he finds safer ways to express admiration. He'll say things like, "That color really suits you," or "You always know the right thing to say," letting the praise land softly without crossing any emotional lines. It's his way of showing affection without putting his heart fully on the table. His compliments often come through in comparisons or observations. He might say, "Not everyone can pull off that look," or "You're so good with people, it's rare." These comments may sound casual, but they're carefully chosen. Each one is a little window into how he sees you. Special, different, worthy of attention. But instead of making it obvious, he wraps it in friendly, playful, or vague language to protect himself. He's trying to give you pieces of his admiration without revealing the whole truth. Sometimes he'll say something nice about you in a group, not directly to you, hoping you'll hear it and understand how he feels without him having to spell it out. His compliments aren't about flattery, they're about closeness. He's hoping you'll feel what he can't yet say, and maybe read between the lines of everything he wishes he could tell you openly. 8. He gets awkward when someone asks about your relationship. He gets awkward when someone asks about your relationship because the question touches a nerve he's trying to keep hidden. He may laugh it off, change the subject, or give vague answers, but underneath, he's flustered. That moment puts him face to face with the feelings he's been avoiding or suppressing. When people ask if you two are together or hint that you should be, it confirms what he already knows deep down, but hasn't been able to say. He cares about you more than a friend. He doesn't know how to respond because saying "we're just friends" feels wrong, but admitting anything more feels risky. He's caught between what's true in his heart and what he's allowed to say out loud. His body language might shift. He could look away, smile nervously, or act like the question didn't mean anything. But the discomfort shows. The tension in his voice, the delay in his answer, the way he avoids your eyes. Those are signs that the question hit too close. It's not that he's ashamed of liking you. It's that he's scared of what happens if the truth comes out. He's not ready for the shift it might cause between you, or the vulnerability that comes with admitting he wants more. So, instead of answering honestly, he hides behind awkward laughs and uncertain words, hoping no one notices how much that one question shook him. 9. He supports you silently in everything you do. He supports you silently in everything you do because that's how he expresses love without needing recognition. He may not shout his support out loud or post about it for the world to see, but he's always there, watching your progress, cheering you on in his own quiet way. Whether it's liking your posts, celebrating your small wins, or just listening when you talk about your dreams, he's fully present, even if he stays in the background. He's the one who remembers your big day, checks in before your important meeting, or sends you good luck without making a big deal out of it. He might not say, "I'm proud of you," but you'll feel it in how he encourages you, in how he always seems to show up when it matters most. If something goes wrong, he doesn't disappear. He becomes your calm. He won't always have the perfect words, but his quiet presence becomes your safety net. This kind of support isn't for show, it's sincere. It's the kind that doesn't demand attention, but never fails to appear when needed. His silence isn't distance, it's depth. He's investing in you not because he has to, but because he wants to see you win. Even if he stays in the shadows while you shine, it's his way of saying, "I believe in you," without needing to say anything at all. 10. He gives mixed signals without realizing it. He gives mixed signals without realizing it because he's constantly torn between what he feels and what he's afraid to show. One moment, he's warm, attentive, and close. You feel like you mean the world to him. Then suddenly, he pulls back, becomes distant, or acts like nothing ever happened. This push and pull isn't a game. It's the confusion of someone who's deeply in love, but scared of the consequences of being honest. Inside, he's battling conflicting emotions. He wants to be near you, talk to you, make you smile, but the fear of rejection or of ruining your friendship keeps him from being consistent. So his affection shows up in waves, texting you late at night, opening up emotionally, then retreating into silence the next day. He may flirt one moment and act indifferent the next, not because he doesn't care, but because caring too much overwhelms him. These mixed signals are the reflection of an internal storm, desire versus doubt, love versus fear. He likely doesn't even realize how confusing it is for you, because in his mind, everything feels chaotic. Every time he starts to get closer, something inside tells him to protect himself. And that's why his behavior shifts. Not because his feelings change, but because he's trying to manage them without letting them show. 11. He never talks about dating, especially with you. He never talks about dating, especially with you, because bringing it up feels too risky. When a man has feelings for you but is afraid to confess them, conversations about love, relationships, or who you're seeing become emotionally loaded. He avoids them not out of disinterest, but because discussing those topics makes him vulnerable to emotions he's trying hard to hide. If you talk about someone you like or ask about his love life, he might change the subject quickly, laugh it off, or give a vague answer. He doesn't want to imagine you with someone else, and he's definitely not ready to admit his own feelings, so he keeps it neutral. He may talk about anything else with ease, your goals, your problems, your day. But love? That's his wall. Deep down, he fears hearing something that could confirm you're moving on or that you see him as just a friend. At the same time, he's not ready to reveal that you're the one he's thinking about. So he builds distance around the subject. Not mentioning dating is his way of keeping his emotions safe, keeping the friendship stable, and silently holding on to hope that one day he won't have to pretend anymore. 12. He acts differently when you talk about other guys. He acts differently when you talk about other guys because it hits a part of him he tries to keep hidden. The moment you mention another man, whether it's a crush, a friend, or even just someone you find attractive, something in his energy shifts. He might suddenly go quiet, seem distracted, or change the subject entirely. That reaction isn't indifference. It's jealousy he's trying to mask. He doesn't want you to see that it bothers him, because showing it would mean revealing how much he cares. Instead, he'll pretend it doesn't affect him. Maybe he forces a smile, makes a joke, or gives a casual response. But underneath, he's uneasy. The thought of someone else having your attention, especially someone you might be emotionally close to, stirs a kind of silent fear in him. Fear that someone else might give you what he hasn't had the courage to offer. Sometimes, he'll become more withdrawn after those conversations, needing time to regain control of his emotions. Other times, he might suddenly try harder to impress you, as if trying to reassert his place in your world. His behavior around this topic isn't random. It's a quiet reaction from a heart that's holding back its truth, because hearing about other guys reminds him of everything he hasn't said and everything he's scared to lose without ever having. 13. He tries to make you laugh when you're upset. He tries to make you laugh when you're upset because seeing you in pain unsettles him more than he'll ever admit. He may not know how to fix what's wrong or find the perfect words, but he knows that if he can make you smile, just for a second, it might lighten your burden, even if just a little. It's not about ignoring your emotions. It's his way of showing he cares without having to say it out loud. He'll crack a joke, mimic something silly, or remind you of a funny memory, not because the situation calls for humor, but because your sadness feels too heavy for him to sit with in silence. Laughter becomes his form of comfort, a way to reach you emotionally without crossing boundaries. He wants to be your safe space, your distraction, your bright spot on a dark day. And he tries to give you that in the only way he knows how, by bringing joy back into your eyes. Even when the timing seems off, his attempts to lift your mood are deeply intentional. He notices your pain, even the kind you try to hide, and he can't bear to see you hurting. He may not say, "I love you," but when you're down and he's doing everything he can to bring you back up, that's when his love speaks the loudest, through laughter, through effort, and through presence. 14. He makes time for you no matter what. He makes time for you no matter what, because you're a priority in his life, even if he's never said it out loud. No matter how busy his day is, how tired he feels, or how many things he has going on, he always finds a way to be there for you. Whether it's answering your messages quickly, showing up when you need help, or just checking in when you're feeling low, his actions consistently say, "You matter to me." It's not always about big gestures. Sometimes it's the quiet ways he shows up. Staying on a call longer than he planned, remembering to wish you luck before something important, or simply making space in his schedule just to listen. He might not voice his feelings, but his time is the clearest evidence of his care. Because time is something people don't give easily, not unless their heart is involved. Even when he's tired or overwhelmed, he won't cancel on you. Even if he doesn't feel his best, he'll still ask how your day went. These moments may seem small, but they carry the weight of unspoken emotion. He's not doing it out of obligation. He's doing it because being present for you feels right. Love, when it's quiet, often speaks through effort. And when he chooses you over convenience again and again, he's telling you how he feels in the only way he feels safe enough to show. 15. He looks hurt when you ignore him or talk about moving on. He looks hurt when you ignore him or talk about moving on because deep down, the idea of losing you shakes something in him he's been trying to keep buried, even if he's never said how he feels. Your presence in his life means more than he lets on. So when you become distant, or when you mention moving on, dating someone else, or starting a new chapter without him, It strikes a quiet pain in his heart that he can't completely hide. You might notice his smile fade, his responses slow down, or his eyes shift away. He may pretend he's fine, shrug, joke, or brush it off, but there's a tension in his voice, a change in his energy that speaks louder than words. That sadness, even if momentary, reveals the truth he's been guarding. That he's emotionally attached, that he's afraid you might move on before he ever gathers the courage to tell you how he feels. He doesn't want to stand in your way or make you feel guilty, so he stays silent. But in those moments, when he thinks you're slipping away, his fear shows. Not because he's possessive, but because he's been quietly loving you from a distance. And the thought of being left behind without ever being truly seen by you, it stings more than he expected. His silence isn't indifference. It's a quiet heartbreak he's too scared to explain.